Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. First, I want to say thank you to the new subscribers and thank you again to the current subscribers. Here's the copyright disclaimer for today's video that's consisting of old newspaper clippings in the Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell case. So, I hope you enjoy this. And we start right off here with a clipping from the Springville Herald of June 15th, 1979. You can see Chad Daybell on the right with his cheeky little grin, and it's talking about how he has gotten the Cub Scouts' highest honor, which was the Arrow of Light Award. Chad was a member of Pack 125 of the 10th Ward, and he was recognized for his hard work and his good example to the pack. Chad Guy Daybell went to Springville Junior High School, and here is a clipping that's talking about how he got a High School Citizen of the Month, and this was from February 1982, and you can see Chad is the second from the left. In this clipping, it talks about how there was a festival of trees in Springville, and Chad was one of the many kids that went around putting bottles out to collect money for the Festival of Trees. And you can see I've circled Chad in the back row. I think he's also with his brother. I probably half circled poor Paul Daybell's face, but there you go. There's Chad. He's think about, look, there's the teachers on the left. If you can see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 in the back left row. Chad's rather tall for his age. In retrospect, this clipping is kind of sad. It's the wedding announcement back in 1990 for Tammy Douglas and Chad Daybell. So Tamara Douglas and Chad, and you can see how incredibly young they looked in 1990. The article says that the couple planned to be married on Friday, March 9th, 1990 at the Manti LDS Temple. A reception was to follow at the Springville Museum of Art. And it talks about Tammy's accomplishments, that she graduated from Springville High School, where she was the editor of the yearbook and the secretary of the National Honor Society, that she was in the marching band, and they even went to Washington, D.C. with the marching band, and that she was currently attending Brigham Young University, majoring in advertising. The article then talks about the prospective groom, Chad Daybell, who graduated from Springville High School, where he served as a treasurer of the student council. He was the vice president of the National Honor Society, a sterling scholar in English. He also served his LDS mission in New Jersey, in some Spanish-speaking area, I take it, and so he was attending BYU and majoring in communications, and he was employed in Springville at the time. So many of these articles that I found and I've clipped for you, I haven't seen them anywhere else. This one is from the Payson Chronicle, April 21st, 1999, and on all my clippings I've tried to put the credit. And anyway, this one is a Son of Pioneer meeting that from the Palmyra chapter that they went to. Chad Daybell did a talk about his pioneer ancestors, and also, of course, segued into his new book, An Errand for Emma. And so how he talked about how the Daybell Dairy was in Charleston was now covered by the Deer Creek Reservoir. And then he segued into his work as a sexton and how that inspired his book called An Errand for Emma. This article from the Springville Herald of February 13th, 2002 talks about Tiny Talks, which was published by Tammy and Chad's publishing company. They wrote the book, which was a small, colorful book by the local authors, Tammy and Chad Daybell, and apparently it was selling like wildfire in the LDS market. Tiny Talk seems to be little short messages with clever illustrations tied to the LDS primary theme of the temple, I'm going there someday. And so there would be lots of little messages. I'm assuming it's suitable for children under the age of 10 because she talked about how she has 5 children under that age and they'll be using the Tiny Talks themselves for a long time. For this article, Tammy's picture's in the paper as opposed to Chad's. And also, she was the one doing the book signing on that occasion. The next article from the Springville Herald of June 24, 2004 is talking about the debut of the Spring Creek Books, which was the publishing company created by Chad and Tammy Daybell, and likely it was kicked off due to the popularity of the Tiny Talks and the Errand for Emma. The article says, quote, "With 5 books already off the press and more coming each month, Spring Creek has received strong support from the LDS retailers across the nation." The article talks about Chad's different books that he had published up to this point and talks about how Spring Creek hoped to publish up to 40 books a year and welcomed submissions from authors. And it gave the submission information. So they were actively looking for folks to publish. And to round out this set of articles, we have an article from the Daily Herald of March 12, 1999, and it has a picture of Chad as a gravedigger. He's the fellow pictured on the left. So in this article, Chad talks about how he got inspired to write An Errand for Emma, and he says, "The plot just came to me one day. I wrote for 4 months. When you're uprooting a rose bush, you think of other things. Half of the story was thought up while I was working." And he gives the backstory of the main character. And so then he's quoted as saying, "This book took a lot of mind power," Daybell said. "There were several points of the plot that were not working out, so I would have to go back and rewrite them. It took quite a bit of research, too. It was a mental strain on my mind. It's not like news writing." The article mentions that even though Chad's no longer under the stress of deadlines and news stories like that he had been before, that as a sexton, Daybell felt that his life was still just as busy, that the time was spent doing more physical tasks than mental. But so when he does get a chance to write, it's for pleasure. So he wasn't writing news stories. And that, quote, "I can still use my communications degree and skills with people who come to the cemetery looking for their genealogy." He adds, "Working here helps me keep my priorities in line, dealing with death every day." Chad adds, quote, "I'm quite happy here, and they treat me good." He always the English scholar, that Chad, right? They treat me good, not they treat me well, but I'm being pedantic. In this picture, it looks as if he's pulling up an old headstone. I don't know what the backhoe is for. I don't know if this was an exhumation. I don't know if this was a staged shoot. Who knows? But here's the picture. Chad as a gravedigger. Let me know if you've seen any like it. Well, that's all for this set of clippings. If you did enjoy this and you like this sort of thing, let me know and I'll upload the rest of my cache of clippings having to do with the players in the Chad and Lori case. So, without further ado, have an excellent day. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.